What if I told you that the secret to world peace might just be swapping everybody's babies? Sounds wild, doesn't it? But given the mess we're in now, with two major conflicts dominating the headlines, maybe it's time for some truly radical thinking. The premise is simple. What if our biological family, as we know it, is the very thing holding humanity back? Now, imagine this. A global system where every child immediately after birth is randomly assigned to a family somewhere else on Earth. A Canadian couple gives birth, and their baby is headed off to grow up with the family somewhere in Uganda. Meanwhile, someone in France is suddenly changing the diapers for a newborn from Iraq. So, what is the whole point? The point is that no one knows whose child they're raising. No one knows who's raising theirs. No one is raising their own biological children, and yet everyone steps up and loves their child because no one else will give them another child. This is their child forever. It is basically global adoption, but on steroids. Let us call it the global baby lottery system, or whatever you want to call it. The purpose? To bring us all a little closer and finally shut the door on inherited privilege and inherited pain. Because seriously, aren't we all a little tired of watching yet another Nepo baby ride a 1 million horse to their private jet, just to fly somewhere else to play polo? Another trust fund kid handed millions or billions just for being born in the right womb at the right time. It's not fair. I know it's not fair. But what's even worse is this. The people who start and bankroll these wars, their kids are never on the front line. Never. Not once. So tell me, does that feel fair to you? If you understand the value of hard work over handouts, then you probably understand why this kind of radical shift matters. Because when you do not know where your child might end up, everything suddenly shifts. You stop building a safe little bubble just for your own. You start building a world where every child is safe, in every country or culture they might land in. Because any child anywhere could be yours. Be honest right now. How far does your bubble really go? Does it stop at your city, your street, or just a handful of people you actually like? Here is the system in action. Every expecting parent signs up for a global baby lottery system. On day 2 after birth, boom, the newborn is entered into the grand shuffle. A few days later, surprise, the parents receive a baby, but not their baby. No. This little bundle of joy is from halfway across the planet. So congratulations, it's a baby. Now please give this baby a name and welcome to parenting. And here is the most important part. Parents don't get to choose the baby's gender, race or cultural background. None of it. No swiping right for your favorite baby. This is not a baby Tinder. Because, let us be honest, the moment people start picking and choosing, we are right back where we are now. Why? Because the second we open that door, we are back to bias, privilege, and all the mess that comes with it. So in this system, no one picks anything. No, the baby is randomly assigned, full stop. The child they receive becomes their own child, while their biological child is placed with another family somewhere else on the planet. Neither set of parents will ever know where their biological child ended up because, let us be honest, parents can get sneaky, give them the tiniest clue, and they will be hiring detectives, doing internet deep dives, or spending half their life savings just to track down their kids. So no details, not the country, not the city, not even whether the child is growing up in a mansion with a butler or in a tiny tent in the middle of the desert. Have you ever seen the lengths parents go to for their biological kids, especially when they are small? It is next level. A kid gets into trouble at school, maybe they did something, maybe they didn't, who cares? It doesn't matter. But it matters to the parents. Daddy or mommy storms in, ready to take in on the teacher, at the other kids, at the whole school system if needed. Zero interest in the fact, just pure defense mode of their genetic DNA. In their head, my child is an angel, your CCTV is lying. Period. The crazy part is that there are plenty of real, documented cases of babies being accidentally swapped at birth. What followed in those stories shows just how deeply our sense of identity is tied to blood, to biology. In 1998, two girls were born at a Sicilian hospital, Catherine and Melissa, were accidentally switched and raised by each other families. It was not until 3 years later when one mother noticed a striking resemblance between her daughter and another girl at nursery. DNA test confirmed the mistake. Rather than simply reversing the switch, the two families moved in together and raised the girls as sisters, before slowly transitioning them back to their biological parents. They were unable to let go of either love or lineage. Imagine the total confusion for both girls trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But a far more tragic case emerged in Japan. In 1953, two newborn boys were accidentally switched in a Tokyo hospital. One was raised in poverty by a single mother. The other, he grew up in a comfort and wealth, and nobody figured it out for over half a century. In 2009, DNA tests finally confirmed what people had quietly suspected for years. The man who had grown up in hardship sued and won, which is basically the polite and legal way saying, you owe me a childhood and also a yacht. One hospital mix-up and suddenly two completely different destinies based on their biological and non-biological parents. All of those stories point to one uncomfortable truth. Even after years of bonding and affection, most people still cling fiercely to biology. A child raised with love can still be rejected the moment bloodlines don't match. And strangely enough, the reverse is also true. Biology has a way of pulling people back. Children who were never raised by their biological parents or who later discovered their real parents suddenly show up with claims, especially when wealth is involved. Likewise, fathers who abandon their kids in early childhood often reappear the moment those kids become rich or famous, suddenly eager to be part of their lives and their bank accounts. If you find out your baby was swapped at birth, would you keep the one you raised or the one with your DNA? We have to raise children not because they're ours, but because they exist, because they're vulnerable, because they're human, and because, quite literally, they are the future, which is a terrifying sentence considering half of them want to be TikTok or OnlyFans famous. And by the future, I mean they'll be the ones paying their taxes to fund our pensions. So really, the future equals taxes. And if they don't, governments will just keep raising the retirement age until we are collecting pensions at 100 from our hospital beds. This global baby lottery idea is not totally plucked from thin air. A few philosophers and writers suggested something similar. For example, John Rawls called it the veil of ignorance. Picture this. Before you are born, you have no idea if you will be rich or poor, male or female, healthy or sick. So you have to design the rules of society without knowing your place in it. So naturally, you will try to make it fair for everyone, just in case you will end up on the losing side. Then there is Peter Singer, who says our circle of concern, the people who care about, is too small. We usually fill it with our family, maybe our country, maybe our favorite football team. Singer says no. That circle should include everyone, even strangers on the other side of the planet, even animals. And then we have our good old Plato, who went bold. In his ideal society, kids would not be even raised by their parents. The whole community would raise them together, so no one grows thinking, my family first. But this baby lottery proposal goes beyond all of them. Would it work? Probably not. I mean, for God's sake, we're ready to go to war over our town's football team. let alone our own child. But here is the thing. Research shows that infants bond with people who nurture them, not with their genetical parents. From the child's perspective, it would probably work, but from the parent's perspective, it's like watering a plant every day, knowing it belongs to your neighbor. Game theory has this interesting idea: shared risk leads to shared care. In other words, if your child could end up anywhere, you suddenly start to care about everywhere. It's like if all your valuables were scattered randomly across the city, suddenly you would care about every street light, every park bench, and every pothole being fixed. And just for reference, game theory is basically the study of how people make decisions when other people's choices also affect the outcome. Think of it like life, but with a scoreboard. The truth is, families all over the world already adopt children from faraway places, sometimes from countries we barely even heard of. So we welcome strangers' babies into our homes, feed them, love them, post their photos on Instagram, and call them family. So maybe this baby lottery is not as radical as it sounds. I mean, we already live in a system where central banks can print trillions out of thin air and hand to big corporations and call it economical stimulus. Compared to that, swooping a few babies almost feels honest. Maybe the real evolution isn't about colonizing Mars or building ChatGPT 500, but about evolving our minds to understand that the well-being of another is our own well-being. But right now, we are still basically in the Stone Age 50,000 BC, just with fast Wi-Fi. It shows us the price we are not willing to pay for the real equality, not the equality our favorite politician sells on TV, or the equality our favorite celebrity cries on our favorite podcast. We just keep finding new excuses to attack each other, start another pointless war, and dream up fresh ways to make the same old mistakes, only now with better technology. So, is this a dystopian nightmare or a utopian dream? Tell me what you think. Would you trade your child for world peace? Could something like this actually happen? And should it? Maybe not next year, but give humanity enough time, and who knows? A few decades here, a few centuries there, until one day we are swapping genetics with strangers as casually as drunk straight phone numbers at the after party, and forgetting about each other next morning. Drop it in the comments. I'm curious and slightly terrified to read your answers.